We must remember that the rationalistic attitude of the West is not the only possible one, and is not all-embracing, but is in many ways a prejudice and a bias that ought perhaps to be corrected. These are the words of Carl Gustav Jung, and they strike at the very heart of his book, Synchronicity. For centuries, Western thought has moved in straight lines. We explain the world in terms of causes and effects. One thing strikes another, and so the chain of reality unfolds. But Jung asks us to pause. He does not reject causality, but he suggests something bold. Perhaps the chain of cause and effect is not enough. Perhaps there are moments in life that arrange themselves not through cause but through meaning. These are the moments of synchronicity, the improbable coincidences that feel charged with significance. The strange alignments that make us pause and ask, what are the chances? Jung himself was shaken by such a moment. One day, Jung was treating a young woman who was highly educated, intelligent, and, as he described, very rational and resistant to therapy. She tended to dismiss things that couldn't be logically explained, and her excessive intellectualism made it hard for Jung to reach her on an emotional level. One day in session, the woman was recounting a dream she had the previous night. In the dream, someone had given her a golden scarab, a type of beetle sacred in ancient Egypt, symbolizing rebirth and transformation. As she was describing this dream to Jung, he suddenly heard a light tapping at the window behind him. He turned, opened the window, and caught a flying insect that had been persistently trying to get in. To his astonishment, it was a scarabæid beetle, specifically a rose jaffer, which looks very much like a golden scarab with its shining golden green body. Jung presented the insect to the patient, saying something like, "Here's your scarab." The synchronicity of the dream and the sudden arrival of the beetle shocked her, breaking through her rigid rationalism. It gave her a direct, emotionally charged experience of something beyond mere chance, and that moment opened her up to deeper psychological transformation. Coincidence? Perhaps, but for Jung, this was not mere chance. It was a glimpse into the mysterious order of reality, where psyche and matter moved together in a dance beyond causality. Jung recounted that in 1992, while staying at Berlingen, he had a very vivid dream. In it, he saw his mother appear to him in a profoundly symbolic way. She seemed to be surrounded by supernatural light, radiating a presence that felt larger than life, as if she was no longer an ordinary human being, but transformed into something timeless. The dream left him deeply moved and disturbed, as if he had glimpsed into another world. That very same night, Jung's mother died suddenly in Basel. To explain this, Jung turned to his concept of archetypes. Archetypes are primordial patterns of experience, forms older than history, which live both in the psyche and in the structure of the world. They are not only psychological but also metaphysical. When these archetypes manifest simultaneously, say in a dream and in an outer event, we experience synchronicity. The scarab in the dream and the scarab at the window both carried the archetypes of rebirth and transformation. It was not the insect itself that mattered, but the meaning that bound the two events together. Jung's reflections did not stop with the psychology. He entered a dialogue with the physicist Wolfgang Pauli, one of the fathers of quantum mechanics. Together they saw parallels. In the quantum world, particles can be mysteriously connected without physical contact. One moves here, another reacts there, instantly without any causal link. To Jung, this suggested a deeper reality, what he called the Unus Mundus, the one world where psyche and matter are not separate domains but two sides of the same coin. Jung writes, "The concept of synchronicity therefore points, it seems to me, in the direction of a unitary aspect of being, which transcends consciousness. I have called this aspect the Unus Mundus." Elsewhere in the same text he adds, "Psyche and matter are contained into one and the same world, and moreover are in a continuous contact with one another, and ultimately rest on irrepresentable Transcendental factors. The hypothesis of Unus Mundus is founded on this. Synchronicity, Jung argued, is not just personal, it can be collective. In the years before the First World War, he and his patients dreamt repeatedly of rivers of blood engulfing Europe. Months later, the war erupted, as though the collective unconscious had foreshadowed history itself. Think of that, the dreams of individuals carrying the premonitions of nations. Philosophically, synchronicity invites us to expand our vision. Perhaps the universe is not only mechanical, but also meaningful. Perhaps the world is not a mute stage upon which we act, but a woven fabric in which inner and outer moments meet, in luminous coincidence. And perhaps those moments we so often dismiss, the sudden phone call from the friend we were just thinking of, the chance encounter that changes a life, the dream that anticipates tomorrow, are whispers of that deeper order. Jung does not ask us to abandon science, he asks us to enlarge it. Synchronicity is an invitation to humility, to admit that the universe may be more mysterious than we imagine, and that meaning itself may be a part of its structure. In the end, Jung's vision is both scientific and poetic. He reminds us that we are not mere observers in a cold, indifferent cosmos. We are participants in a living order, one that speaks in dreams, symbols, and extraordinary coincidences. And if we are attentive, we may catch those moments when the inner world and the outer world touch, moments that remind us that life is not only logical, but luminous.